Chuck Leifer, formerly the Extension Agent 4-H in Monroe County. When I went there, the agent titles were Associate Agent unless you were Ag Agent. And then in I started in 1961, June 15, 1961. And then 2 years later, they wanted me to move to Ag Agent. And I asked if I could stay 4-H and be chair. And they said, well, we'll make an exception. And so in 1963, I was County Extension Agent 4-H and chair, first one in the state. 1965, I became Area 4-H Agent. And then all the way through an interesting point, in 1965, they established the Area Extension Center concept. And so they asked me to be Area 4-H Agent. I said, okay, if the area center would be in Woodsfield, they said, okay, it will. 3 months later, they said, you need to move to McConnellsville. We're moving our area center to McConnellsville. I retired September 30, 1993, which would be a little bit over 32 years as an extension employee.
Okay, I'm Betty Dillon Ward, and I started with Extension July the 18th, 1956, and I retired in February, the last of February of 1992. I was the head secretary here.
I started my first club in 1945 on Jackson Ridge as Gene Hamilton. And then I got married and didn't do any more until 61 before I got back into it.
When did you have your last group?
In 1976.
My name then is Ruth Haney. I started out as a 4-H agent.
I'm Don Pollock, and I started here about 63, and then I worked through 88. I had several during the time I was here. All the time I was an agricultural agent, but then there was times that we didn't have a 4-H agent, and there were times we didn't have a home economics agent. So guess who had to kind of work with that?
The county has always been a county that didn't have a lot of jobs, and through our resource development agent, along with other dignitaries, I'll say, of Woodsfield, they had what they call the Resource Development Committee. They had a big hand, I think, in bringing ORMIT into the county. Also, we had what we call the MDTA school. That was a training school for heavy equipment operators. They worked on the airport and leveled that, and Howard Phillips was our agent at that time, and he suggested we take the know off of the infield at the fairgrounds. So that was done through this MDTA school, and they stored their heavy equipment there at the fairground, and they also had served lunch in the Colson building, which, by the way, was started in 1958 and was named after Henry Colson, who was a 4-H agent at that time. We had what we called the TVA demonstration plots, and this was put on by the Tennessee Valley Authority. They sponsored 10 farmers, and they got their lime and fertilizer from the local Farm Bureau at that time. And it was demonstration plots, and they had to keep track of it and so forth, but it was no cost to the farmers. Anything from soil samples, and they could be brought into beer cans, or they could be brought in big buckets. And what we really needed was just a pint of fine, dry soil, and we sent that in for testing. And it came back and told the farmers what they needed to put on their ground to improve it and make it better for their farm.
Well, we always had the problem that, the agriculture was kind of on the decline as far as full-time farming. So I kind of tried to emphasize alternative things that farmers could do such as small fruits, and we started the grape projects in the county.
Well, every day was always a challenge, and you never knew what was going to happen. But one thing would be starting the Saddle Horse Club here in the county. My husband and I started that in 1958. We were the Saddle Busters, and we had quite a big club, and then we kind of branched off, and I helped other clubs get started, and that is how the horse program got started, and is still going strong here in Monroe County.
They're supposed to do a community project. So we decided that the city needed some trash barrels around town. And we went to this girl's house to do this. And don't ask me how we ever did it, but we got the tops cut out, and then they painted them green, and then they painted a big white 4-H on them, and we set them on the square.
But when I was WOAG agent, we together kind of got the junior fair started here in the county. And then Tom Reiser became our 4-H agent in the county, and I think that he's the one that started the feeder calf sale.
I was hired as a Monroe County 4-H agent. I took on the responsibility and wanted to do it. We had a weekly news column in the paper. We had a weekly, a monthly newsletter, and also we did a radio program out of Wheeling, West Virginia for 4-H and all of Extension. And so the goal was really to get the word out about 4-H.
We voted the levy that you're going to vote on this fall. So we started it, and we had voted so far through now. So I hope you can continue to vote it, because that's your source of money.
As far as a memorable experience back in Monroe County, in fact, it was just amazing that I was hired. When I went and interviewed with the County Extension Advisory Committee, one of the questions they asked was, what do you think of pigeons? I had never knew that there was a 4-H project in pigeons, and the chair of the Extension Advisory Committee, John Kernan, asked me that question. I said all that we did when I grew up on the farm, we'd shoot pigeons out of the barn. And so it's amazing that the committee would even recommend that I be hired as a 4-H agent in Monroe County. Another related kind of a thing, within 2 weeks of when I went to Monroe County, we went to 4-H camp, Camp Piedmont, and I learned upon arrival that I would be the director of 4-H camp. I had never been to a 4-H camp, never been to Piedmont. So before July 1 of 1961, I was the director of 4-H camp.
I can think of the day that I had a demonstration, a mixer, I believe it had to be something of that nature. And so everything was going along well, you know. I was talking and demonstrating what it did and how it worked and all that stuff, you know. And all of a sudden, the women began to laugh. I thought, what in the world was so funny about that? And here it had boiled over and was rolling out on the counter, you know, and the food was. So no wonder they were laughing about it. But
Oh, I think the biggest thing was the parade and making them work and build their float. The one with the cardboard oven and things and the smoke coming out when they come in front of the grandstand. And we won first prize, first I don't know how many years of our float.
Working with the people, of course the 4-H kids, and just people in general. We had home economics program with the homemakers. We had Blocky Beef Boosters Club. I think Chuck Leifer helped start that. Oh, Kathy Cox was here, and when she was our 4-H agent, she came up with Chris Clover, which we used here to promote 4-H here in the county, and I think it went on to state, but here in the county anyway.
Well, just working with people. I enjoyed mostly working, and Betty will verify this, working out on the farms on a one-to-one basis, because I thought you got a lot more accomplished than you did by sitting in meetings with the farmers. Because your meetings were usually in the evening, and the farmers had worked 8 or 10 hours already, and they were about half asleep. I do think we accomplished a good bit by going out and visiting the farms and talking to them about their problems and trying to come up with a solution.
Just seeing them accomplish something, or learning to do something, and which one of them works up here in town now, and she said, I would never be able to cook if I wouldn't have taken 4-H from you.
My greatest enjoyment in being an extension is really working with people, and that really started with Monroe County. I had been in Western Ohio in my student teaching extension field experience, and went to Monroe County. Friendly people, they would do anything for you, and my philosophy has always been, if you can help others succeed, then I would get my satisfaction by others. And that was.
Hello, I'm Mark Lundefeld, Ag Natural Resources Educator here in Monroe County, and today we're going to talk a little about what kind of projects we do here in the county. Obviously I work with farmers and livestock operators here in the county. That's one of our biggest resources here within the county. Beef cow-calf operations, and for those we have a lot of grazing programs that we offer to teach people how to manage the grass the most effectively and efficiently to raise as much as they can here on the farm. We also work with fruit and vegetable producers here in the area. Several Amish people here have a produce auction that they raise produce for, so we work with those people as far as trying to decrease the amount of disease and insect pressure on those. We also have a group of people who work in the forestry industry here. We're in Appalachia and grow a lot of hardwoods, so we have a lot of forestry programs usually in the fall as far as identification, and a lot of those have to do with timber marketing and management of the timber so that you get the best prices for some of those things. We also work with some other people as far as natural resources here, obviously the last few years in the Marcellus Shale, oil and gas programs as far as leasing, and also pipeline.
Hi, I'm Kristen Corey, Family and Consumer Sciences Educator. Family and Consumer Sciences, or what used to be known as home economics, still works with families and communities to help them become stronger individuals and stronger families with their finances, with their relationships, and with their well-being, through nutrition and their diet and exercise. We look at making people stay healthy through food safety as well, home food preservation. We teach people to use their money wisely, and we offer them the skills that they need to have a good balance between their work life and their family life. We teach people how to apply the research at Ohio State and make practical decisions every day, whether it's in their kitchens, in their supermarkets, or out in their homes.
Happy birthday, Extension. What a wonderful 100 years to celebrate. It is the people's birthday as we think about what Extension has done for the United States of America. What will the next 100 years be like? That's really up to the people. What type of programs do you want? Every extension program is different throughout Ohio, and Monroe County is different than many extension programs throughout the country. But it will ultimately be up to the people of the needs that they have, that they need to have served, but always Extension will be here to serve the needs and also to have that university connection to meet the needs of the people.